We are live, another episode of Alive with Joey. I think we're on episode 14 with my boy, Brandon Tobias. Brandon, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor.
Yeah, dude, we've known each other a little while. We've known each other through the social media tentacles, I guess you could call them.
The social media tentacles, I like that. Grabbing us all in, but
yeah,
hopefully in a positive way.
Yeah, man. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of wait till a few people jump on. How was your day? Let's talk about that.
It was good. It was busy. I think one thing I'm learning to do is just go with the flow so much that I'm just going from one thing to another with no hesitation and not having to worry about planning or doing much or having too much structure, because that can get in the way, or the mind thinking that you don't have enough structure so you can't be productive, when in reality, you just go and do shit and a lot gets done. I don't know if anyone else who watches this works like that, but
that's hilarious, because I just recently kind of dove into my human design. I don't know if you know much about that, if you dove into that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is only like a few months for me. And I just hired some coaches, a business coach, to kind of help me get to the next level. And one of the things, and I had the interview with them, is I said, girls, because there's two girls that are helping me. They're amazing. I said, you need to know my human design, number one. And they're like, well, good thing is that this is the first thing we do is we find out what your human design is.
Wow.
Because damn, me being a generator and a sacral authority, it's all about joy. It's all about finding what lights you up. And I used to put that aside and go, well, that's cool and all. Everybody loves what lights them up and where their joy is, but we got to get work done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then guess what happens? You grind because you're supposed to do all this other stuff. And then you forget about your joy, and then you fall out of alignment, and it's just a fucking mess.
When did you learn you were a generator specifically? How long ago was it?
I want to say maybe 6 months, probably not. Well, maybe I knew I was a generator for a little bit more, but when I started to really dive in and understand what that meant, probably only 3 to 5 months.
What did that change for you? For everyone listening, human design is a life-changing practice, and I want to hear your experience, since I've known mine for about 5 years.
Oh,
and
dude.
It's totally, by the way, I want to hear your guess of what I am.
You should have maybe told me. But I'm guessing many of my close friends and stuff probably have told me, but I'm like the one if I'm not ready for it, it's kind of just out the window. But what has it done for me? It's allowed me to release a lot of guilt and a lot of expectation, needless expectation of what I should do, and what I should be doing, and then to follow what my human design, my what's it called, not my path, but what's it called in human design? My not design, but
is it the cross of fortune, or the part of fortune, or not the part? That's astrology.
It's the I'll come back to that. Either way, it's like how I should be doing. Yeah, exactly. But when I started reading all the little details about it, I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm not nuts. This is actually what I should be following, is my gut, because I'm, my sacral authority. Yeah. And then also that what fires me up, because if I look back in blocks of time, every time I've been in the most alignment, I've had the most abundance, the best relationship is when I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
I'm not grinding till 2:30 in the morning like Gary Vee talks about. I'm not saying that doesn't work for certain people, but I've tried that. Work harder, be more productive.
But without the joy, it's like, what's it all for? And where's the driving force? It's funny. I was talking to a client today, and it's the same wound, the same hurt that was getting to her is, and I'm going to keep her totally anonymous, but, she was in the state where she is just I have to, the feeling part of me doesn't matter at all, because it's let me down so many times that I have to be planning everything, moving forward, working, and just logically decide what my path is based on what makes the most sense at the time, or what's most practical, or what is going to make money. And it's like this deadening from what I've seen. I don't know if you can relate, of the softer side of the joy, of the inspiration. It's like, where is the life to what we do and what we think? And I think that's what we're missing a lot of times in society, and on both sides, men and women.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you've experienced that as well as being a generator.
Sure. Absolutely. So tell me, what's your profile?
I gotta know what your guess. I gotta know what your guess.
Man, I can't. I'm not good at this. I'm gonna say you're a manifesting generator.
Close, but no. Close, but no. Projector.
Okay.
Projector.
So tell me more about that, because I know a few other projectors, but I don't know enough about that profile. I know enough about me now because I've dove into it. But tell me, what does a projector look like? Like what are the things that light you up?
One of the things I'll say is that projectors and generators work really well together. So if you have a partnership or a business partnership or relationship where there's a generator or a manifesting generator and a projector, it works amazing. Yep. Why is that? Well, the projector needs the energy of the generator. Brenda says, I'm a projector. That's awesome. We can see comments, by the way. So hi, Brenda.
Oh, yeah.
The projector needs the generator's energy to be able to guide it, to help it find what brings it the most joy and where its true purpose lies. And it's not that a generator can't find it on its own, because I get that a lot too. It's like, do I need something? No, you don't. But a projector's gift is to be invited in to help the world see what it can't see on its own.
Damn, I love that.
So it's actually, because we have mostly open centers, like my sacral, open.
Yep.
So I got to rely on other people's and basically without an invitation to do some type of work.
Right.
Get this funny stereotype: projectors are really lazy because we just work for like 3 hours a day. Right. And if we have energy accessible, then more. But it's harder for projectors to work consistently.
And so it's funny because I just dove into the first call with my coaches was a full on human design reading, and my top 3 are open. So my crown, my throat, and my third eye. And so I thought that was interesting. And then my sacral, my solar plexus. What's the other one? Kind of
the emotional center.
In the emotional one.
G center.
What's it again? It could be that one.
Not the G spot.
No, not. I mean, but yeah, Jesus, this got awkward.
It's already there. We're already there. Not the G spot, everyone. The G center.
The G center, not this. Anyways, but yeah. So I thought it, and I was wondering like what that means. Like, what does it mean to have those centers open? So my top 3, my throat, my third eye, and my crown. What does that mean to have them open?
It means you're an amazing channeler. John F. Kennedy is one of my favorite examples of a projector with an open throat chakra. And the open centers, the wisdom behind the open throats is they don't have their own defined knowledge, but they take in the energies from all around them, and they help to define society's knowledge by reflecting it back to them, taking it back in, and spurting it back out with the power of love and light. So what you can do, what your gift is you're able to take in different types of viewpoints, different types of knowledge coming from all different types of people and areas, and you're able to articulate very well. Is your throat open as well, or just the top 3? So
I gotta circle back. I gotta make sure
we gotta check.
Yeah, I gotta go through my chart again, man. I don't even know. I have to go back. But either way, this information that you're bringing me is resonating big time. But
that's awesome.
Let's pump the brakes a second. Brandon, can you introduce yourself? Because we kind of rolled into it, man.
Yes. Thank you. By the way, thank you for this. I'm super excited. I've been like offline for months now. Like I haven't done a live in at least a couple months. And that's just because for everyone watching that, came in from Instagram, I've been just going through a heck of a process and building and trying to find out who I am and stepping into the next phase of my work and, cultivating also an amazing relationship with my girlfriend who I think is watching this. So hello, Paula, and her parents. Awesome. But, I'm a lot of things, but one thing I'd say is I'm a professional astrologer. I'm an intuitive guide. I'm an empowerment coach, empowerment soul coach. And what I do is I help people find their inner truth from the inside out. And I help guide them to that. I don't tell them what to do. I don't tell them what to be. I guide them to themselves. Yeah, man. And I help them step into that.
I love it, brother. And I know a lot of people here probably recognize you from TikTok. And like you said, you took a few steps back. Yeah. Tell me what brought that on, because I know you were out there. You blew up on TikTok. You still have a huge following. What caused you, or what made you kind of take that step back and reassess?
Yeah, I think it was, me and my girlfriend moved to Arizona, and it was a totally different lifestyle and different necessities that popped up in life during this time. I mean, we got a dog, We've been building, we've been moving in, we've been making sure that our lifestyle is, built and the foundation is steady. And you know what I realize is that requires a lot of work. That requires a lot of dedication, right? It's not easy to just, and we both did this, by the way. We both said, you know what, we're going to come move to Arizona together. She's from Florida, I'm from California, and just meet in the middle and start a life together, right? Meet each other in the middle. Very Libran.
How perfect
start a life
is that?
Together. And, we've had to build a foundation of what life is going to be like with both of us. And we're both very strong, very independent people. And it's taken us a while to learn how to live together in a way that aligns with both of our life purposes together. And I'd say the main thing that's kind of kept me, outside of the limelight was I've been figuring that out alongside of her. And now we've gotten to a really amazing place where I feel stronger than ever, more motivated to go out and kick ass. And she has helped me to step into that strength and power and to realize what I'm here to do. Absolutely. As the feminine energy does, just by being. Yeah.
So tell me this. Here's a question I have. When it came to, okay, hey, I'm in California, you're in Florida, let's do this. Did you have expectations on how that was going to be? Was it like this magical meetup and everything was going to be like butterflies and rainbows? And what did that end up being? Like the challenges and triggers and stuff like that?
Oh my gosh, it's been very challenging. Look, it's been very challenging. I'm not going to hide that. The point of this podcast is to be real.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I can say in a very real way is it's been the most challenging 6 months probably of my life to be able to learn how to navigate and live life together, aligned, empowered, connected with someone. Because it's the first time I've ever done it. And it's the first time she's ever done it in this way. And so we had a lot to learn. Luckily for us, it was pretty magical in the beginning, right? It was like we got a really lucky chance to get a trip out to Colorado and then a trip out to Orlando for work stuff. And we happened to be able to meet up and to enjoy our time together. And then after that, we decided, hey, we'll just take a trip to Arizona, check it out. No pressure to kind of see what's going on. And one of the things that happened was we just decided that this is where we want to be. This is where we want to step. And this is where soul and universe and the guides are saying to step into if you're ready. And it's one of those decisions that we both had to make and we both had to surrender to, and we both had to take a leap into and then let the rest play out. It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, not having too much planning or structure or expectations, just flowing and letting the productivity run itself. Well, I feel like that's exactly how our relationship and how our love story has been, is we just let that thing flow, opened the faucet and trusted the process. Yeah. And, for many people, right, they think, well, you've met your person. And while I know she's my person, that's not always easy still to navigate with your person. You have to grow and love and adapt and shift a lot of things to become who you're meant to be. And same thing with her. So long story short, no, it didn't, it wasn't this kind of happy fairy tale ending that we just both ride off in the sunset and live in Arizona happily ever after. We took the leap and then we built and we dedicated to that building, and we're still in that phase and we've made it through. So
how fucking powerful is the leap though? Like in anything that we do, right? It's like, you're not going to like put one toe in, one toe out when you're moving to Phoenix or to Arizona together. It's like, I'm all in, you're all in. Let's see what the fuck happens.
Yeah. And this, mind you, this is after maybe 3 to 4 months of knowing each other. We met off TikTok and we're staying in touch via text and Marco Polo. Yeah. We met each other twice. Yeah. Keep in mind, I had an opportunity to go to Dubai at one point. And this was while we were kind of still getting to know each other. And this person is so amazing. Paul, if you're watching, she's so amazing. I'm like, hey, you want to go to Dubai? Because I got to go to Dubai. She's like, let me get my passport.
Yeah. Let's go.
So she's awesome. And she's just, a lot of credit goes to her for just being open to the flow and allowing me to lead her in that flow. And that's what I would say is most important in a relationship, is one person's got to lead and really trust in the forefront of the flow, and the other person really has to surrender, and together, right, they create this whirlwind of activity and just things coming into their life that's going to sustain them for the rest of their relationship together.
Wow. How much of that though just goes to show how much work you've both done. Like, I don't know your girlfriend, but I mean, to be able to take the lead shows a lot of where you're at. And the other side is to surrender, which is as powerful, if not more, to go, okay, this is like, let's just see. So that just goes to show kind of how far you've both come, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it only happened because we had done so much individual work and had gone through so much individually that when we came together, we were so clear, we were so in alignment with what our souls wanted that we could just say yes and go. There was no roadblocks. Yeah.
I love that. So let's go back to 20-year-old Brandon.
Oh boy.
Because I want to go there. I want to know your story. I think our stories are super effing important. To see where you're at now, leading in a space that I think is so crucial right now. You're well respected. I think what you bring to the table is very, very beautiful. Being an aligned alpha, as I like to call it.
Thank you.
Tell me what 20-year-old Brandon would be thinking right now, or what that even Brandon looked like at that point.
He was not an aligned alpha, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He was not. He was trying to be an alpha. He was trying to find out through his own mistakes what being an alpha was, being a true alpha was. And he did that by making a lot of mistakes and believing certain things that were passed on to him from his coaches at the time. I was a college football player. Guy went, full ride scholarship to Portland State. And, the expectations that come with that in a sport or any dedication or any field where there's people that are kind of leading you into a certain direction and you're young, right, and you don't really know where the F you're going. And you have people that are guiding you to where they think you should go or want to go. It's very difficult because you're going down this predetermined path that you didn't necessarily choose. And thank God for the fact that God designed it. I believe God designed it so that every path we go down, no matter if it's right or wrong, leads us to the right path. And what I found is that going down this football path with coaches and saying, you're going to be this and you're going to be that, it led me to realizing just how messed up a lot of things were, including the college system, the healthcare system, the political system, everything about the systems. And I'd say that was the majority of my 20-year-old life, was being a part of the systems that really didn't serve me. They were serving the people that created them.
But at 20 years old, you're on a full ride. You're a football star. You're playing football. You have basically the world in your hands, as media or movies or anybody will tell you.
Yeah.
How do you, I can't even imagine myself in that situation at 20, because I know myself at 20.
Yeah.
Even 21, 22. And I put myself in that situation. I don't know, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what it was. It was basically being given all of the freedom and power and leverage and ego, right? Everything my ego wanted, gifted on a silver platter.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because, my whole high school career, I had this chip on my shoulder about wanting to achieve this thing, about getting a scholarship, proving myself as a football player. And then once you achieve it and the silver platter's handed to you, it's always a recipe for disaster when there's not another goal set in front of you.
Yeah.
Because then you have the silver platter and you're eating from the silver platter, whatever the hell you want, but there's no more ambition, there's no more drive. And so that's where things get messed up. And I messed up a lot. I mean, I partied, I drank, I ate like shit. I did things to my body that I'm not proud of, right? And, I had no essence of connection to the divine or to God or spirituality at all. I was just living life based on my desires and based on my needs and my selfish wants. And it all crashed down.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you're going to ask something else, but we'll get into that in a second, how it all crashed down.
Yeah. So before crashing down, let's talk about the divine, God, universe, all the words, all the labels. At that time, if someone would have came up to you and say, hey, can I do a reading for you? Or can I talk to you about Jesus? Or can I talk to you about the universe and, law of attraction or anything in this realm? Where would you have been? Beat it?
I would have been like, sayonara, buddy. Sayonara, you crazy.
You are wacko. Get out of here. Yeah.
Fast forward 10 years later, I'm the one doing all the tarot readings.
Oh, man.
Wacko stuff, right?
Dude.
So, yeah.
I just did my first so I've been pulled, and I'm not well versed with tarot, but I've been really drawn to this Shaman's Dream Oracle deck.
Wow.
And this last 2 weeks during my I've just been drawn to this deck, and I've been pulling cards, and they've just been unbelievable. And I'm sitting with them, and I'm like, and my guides are like, it's time for you to pull cards for the collective. Just make a video, just go out and do it. I'm like,
wow.
I'm not a card guy. I don't have enough knowledge. And I kept making excuses. And finally today I said, no, like I'm really being pulled. And I pulled a card, and I made my first TikTok video with it. Man, same thing. You tell me even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I'd be like, are you nuts?
Right.
I'm going to be talking about what?
Right.
Guides? What the fuck are you talking about? Guides.
Right.
Like none of this. But I'm like, it's the most amazing space to be in. Like I would not change it for the world.
Yeah.
But it's really amazing how we go from there to that, huh?
It is. And it's almost impossible. I'm like, how did that even happen? How did that even progress into that? How do we become such a different person within the span of 5 to 10 years or so, to the point where I would not even recognize the person I was at that time?
Right.
Yeah.
So we talk about that. Like, was it a moment? Was it a series of moments that got you to like realize, okay, there is something bigger? Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, I would say for anyone out there that's watching, and I don't know who's watching or who watches later, but if you're facing darkness in your life, just know it's the greatest blessing you'll possibly ever experience
100%.
in this lifetime. And what I'll say is that the darkness I had to face at that time, what happened physically was my knee. I had a knee surgery. My knee, I was in practice, my meniscus, right meniscus went out. And I think we were talking about this earlier. For me, that was my entire identity was in that knee. And, just in a second, in a heartbeat, gone. Everything from my whole life at that point that I'd built myself on ripped out from under me. And so what happened was, of course, I tried to numb it with a lot of pot, a lot of weed, really strong edibles. I mean, I was high every day for 3 to 6 months probably after that, just trying to figure out how to cope with such a tremendous loss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't until go ahead.
Where was that at? Like your headspace, like your whole identity. You're a college football star. You're doing this, you're doing that. You want to try to get to pro football, right? And then gone. Like, when you're not high, when you're in the shit, what did that feel like?
Oh, it was, I remember this sinking feeling inside of the pit of my soul that basically said I would never, ever be the same person. I would never, ever be able to be and have the capabilities that I've always had. And I could feel it in my heart as I'm speaking, right? Because it was such a, for someone who prided themselves on having capabilities that not other people have, right? Not a lot of other people have in that space physically. And even, with my intellect at that time, because that was also for some reason tied in with what happened, is I didn't feel as sharp. I didn't feel as on, I got nervous during public speaking, and I still do to this day. It's like something left. And I don't know what that is, but it was having to step into through necessity and through darkness. And I think someone had said, Little Wolf 66, that you didn't become a different person, you became a truer version of yourself. I love that. And this is what it forced me to start to embrace, is a different version of who I really was, that didn't rely on his physical attributes and didn't rely on his six pack and didn't rely on his wit to get him through life, but more relied on his heart and his spirituality, his faith, and his intuition.
Did you ever have a moment? So I call these moments with God, because there's 3 or 4 different moments in my life that there were like very definitive moments where, we talk about presence and being in the moment, but when everything seems to almost like you're on psychedelics, a moment in time where you fully fucking surrender, and it seems like everything stops, and you're in that full moment of like, what is this? You ever have a moment like that just like changed you?
I do. And I can share it with you if you want.
Please do.
I'd say there's several moments like that, but I'll share the first one that I ever remember.
Please.
I remember I was in my college house. We were renting a house with 5 football players, and I was on the top floor.
Yeah.
And this is at that time when I'm telling you, Joey, I was close to wanting to not be in this life anymore at that period in time, because I didn't want to be here if I was not going to be me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I will never forget when I looked over at the, there was like a clock or something. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was behind my bed, or it was my phone, or it was a clock or something. And I was all alone in my room, and I saw for the first time and I had looked over like in a random way, and I just saw 11:11. And to many people who see this, like, what does that matter, dude? You just saw 11:11.
Yeah.
But at that time, I had been asking and praying to God, to the universe, to angels. I didn't know what the fuck was even out there at that time.
Right.
To please help and to please tell me and share with me what I was here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have faith. I really didn't believe. I'm just going to be honest with you. I did not believe.
Yeah.
I had even gone through a period in high school where I was atheist. I went from being a Catholic to atheist.
Oh my God, our stories are fucking way too similar. I can't even handle this right now. From Catholic to atheist to where we are, I can't.
So you're a recovering Catholic as well?
Recovering Catholic as well. Anyway, continue, and then we'll jump into that.
And I don't know why, but this 11:11 just meant everything to me. And I felt the presence of, for the first time, Archangel Michael. And I know you know him well.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was Archangel Michael at the time. I just knew it was a very strong presence. Jumping out of the phone or the clock or whatever it was that I saw 11:11 at. And I just knew that, 1, I was going to be okay. And 2, that they were here with me.
Yeah.
And man, when I realized that, when I saw that shit changed my whole life, because I was like, I'm not alone. This is all part of some plan, some crazy plan. And man, it's hard, but I got to keep going.
Oh man.
So
those moments are like undeniable, life-changing, earth-shattering moments. And you're the first person I think I've asked on the show about those moments. I had a feeling you probably had a few of these. But I remember when I was going through a lot in my life when my daughter was born. I think she was maybe, God, a month and a half, 2 months old. And my whole world was falling apart around me, mostly myself. Like, I talk about my depression a lot like this. Like, my soul was pulling me one way, and my, my conditioning and ego is pulling me the other. And there's just this inner battle happening. And one day I'm like, I'd come off of a really serious incident at work where there was a murder. I worked in a correctional facility, and we worked in the maximum security unit. There was a murder, there was a fight, there was a bunch of other things that had happened all within a few months. And I took some time off work, and I was a mess. Like, not only my work, my life, everything, my identity, everything was being shaken up, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember coming off about a 2-week period where, man, I didn't do much more than pace my hallway or sit on my couch. And one day I just like, you know what? It's a beautiful winter day. I think it was November, December in Canada. So it was like -3, fresh snow on the ground. I'm like, I threw my daughter, I bundled her up, I threw her in the stroller, and I started walking down we had a gravel path, and just a little breeze. And I was walking, I had music I think on my phone, just on the speaker, like a nice, I don't even know what I was listening to, Zen music, something like that. And I just get into this trance, and I'm walking, and everything just starts to slow down, one thing after another. And I'm walking with my daughter, and the whole world fucking stops. I see, and I've talked about this a few times, I see the long grass in the ditch. I could see every blade. One by one, I could literally hone in on every single blade of grass in the wind, every branch of the tree. like every ray of the sun, everything stopped. And it felt like it was for like, I want to say 10 to 15 minutes of my walk. Everything was in now. There was no mind. There was no ego. There was no thought. There was no worry. There was nothing but complete connection to everything around me.
Wow.
And I was just like, and I had been on mushrooms. I've done LSD. I've had experiences with psychedelics, but never sober. And I don't know if it was my daughter's energy bringing that to me as a gift, a combination of a few things. But for 15 minutes, the world stopped, meaning my world stopped.
Yeah.
And I was completely connected with the divine. Like I was an extension of everything, dude.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that. And my daughter and I will have that forever. But that was a moment that changed everything for me. And it's hard to put into words, right? Like, you have these moments and you're like, well, like this is this and that's that. But like, it was the most mind-blowing experience of my life. Like, yeah.
That sounds life-changing.
Yeah, 100%.
What was it that brought you into shortly after having, like when you were in that experience, what were you, I know you're not technically thinking because you're in it, right? But like, what did it make you realize afterwards?
It brought me to a point of realizing that, well, it brought me back to the first book I ever read was that ever changed anything in this space was Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. And I had never read The Power of Now before that or anything like that. That was just like a book. Here, read this. I was in Honduras. I was scuba diving with my wife at the time and my friends. And our friends hands us a book, or my friend Nastasia hands me a book. She's like, this will change your life. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm in a place of just ego. But that brought me to the book. And that book was kind of the first introduction to me being present.
Yeah.
Right. And being in the moment. And I started to realize those things, but it brought me to that. And I'm like, this is what Eckhart Tolle was talking about. Like we are connected. We are one. And all these things start to fall. Like, what am I happening? What is happening at this moment? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't know. I couldn't explain it. I remember coming home, just going to Mel. I'm like, I don't know what just happened, but I felt like I completely stopped time for 15, 20 minutes. I don't even know what the time was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it was what do you think stimulated that? Was it the intellectual learning of what Eckhart Tolle was trying to say that kind of hit you, or what was the process of that being? Because I'm asking because I know a lot of people who watch, these types of content, they're interested, and I don't know about your audience. I know my audience is interested in, how to have their spiritual awakening and their wake up calls and their realizations. So it's like, how do you get to the place, do you think, for you that allowed that to happen?
I needed to suffer, dude. I needed to suffer. I don't know why. For me, I'm not saying everyone has to have this, but I had to go through lesson after lesson after lesson, like 300 of the same lesson over and over again. And for me, that moment was like, God, like you said, universe, whatever this is, I'm done. I'm fucking done. Like whatever you got for me, just give it to me and I'll adjust accordingly. And it was a full surrender moment for me, I think. That's what it was. It was surrendering to just, okay, let go of what I think is and that's what came. And that's happened a few times since.
So you're saying if people want to have their awakening, they just have to endure the greatest pain.
Exactly. I mean, have a few dark nights of the soul, hit rock bottom, and then come out. But
easy peasy.
Yeah,
come on,
people. I guess it's not everyone, but I mean, like you said, the biggest challenges, the darkest darkness, the densest times have been the biggest blessings of my life.
Yeah.
Like we talk about gratitude. We talk about appreciation, how important that is. But I think the biggest growth comes from when you're able to look back at the hardest shit you've ever been through and be grateful for that.
Yeah.
Not just the beauty and the fun times, the growth that came from those dark nights.
I love this conversation. I love this topic because, when I look at astrology, it's all about embracing parts of you that are essentially dark and having to it's funny because we brought each other to that moment, right? Just in the flow, we brought each other to that dark moment, and you had to go through a process where we kind of examined it and looked at the purpose why, and then kind of let it in more. And I would say for those people watching this Mercury retrograde, I think, it's easy to resist, or it's easy to shy away from suffering, and pain. It's like we do everything. Our human nature says to do everything we can to not be involved in that and to run away from it, emotional, physical, or whatever type of pain. And I think this conversation just really shows how powerful letting the suffering in, letting the pain fully in, can be for someone's life.
You're absolutely bang on. And it never gets easier, I find.
Yeah.
Like even after the biggest moments of growth in my life, I go through more. We all go through more. We continue evolving. Okay, I can't say it's not easier. Maybe there's more awareness around it. There's more awareness about what the value of what's coming through this dark night or through these moments.
Yeah.
But we're going to continue being challenged on how much you're able to let go. But there's your best life, the most evolved, aware, aligned version of yourself is always at the other end of that.
Yeah. 100%. And it's like, what is life with just enjoying the silver platter constantly?
Right.
Because to me, pain is progress. And if you didn't have that pain or progress and you just had to have the silver platter, there would be no essence of reward. There would be no essence of achievement. There would be no essence of accomplishment and pride in who you are. Like, I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure you look at yourself and you go, you know what? I faced the darkest possible moments and I made it through, and I became the leader that I am today. And if that was just handed to me, you wouldn't even be who you are.
Dude, I made a video of this not too long ago on how important it is to take a look back once in a while.
Yeah.
Because, you hear a lot of stuff. Don't look back. You're not going that way. Yeah. But you know what? Without knowing what you've been through, you don't even know what you can get through.
Yeah.
Look at how far you've come. You've blasted through the hardest shit you could ever imagine. And you came out on top. Like this is building you more and more and more. So like it's built us. It's allowed us to be the best versions, and we just keep going. Like, God, it's tough though sometimes, huh? Yeah,
it does get easy. It's not fun, and but I think what you said is the awareness is the most key thing. That if people can take something away from this, it's like just bringing the awareness that pain is okay, that suffering's okay, and sometimes even voluntarily going into the suffering is the correct direction.
Well, and it allows us to be better at observing what's going on versus like getting sucked into it.
Yes.
Right. Just to be able to be on your platform, your foundation, going, okay, this is heavy. This is a lot going on. Let's just watch it. Let's watch it instead of going shit, and trying to grab the rope and trying to catch the slack out of the rope. Meanwhile, like you just got to ride this out. So that's something that it's proven to me to be able to do, is allow me to observe, especially when others are involved and they're going through stuff.
Totally. And that's where you have become a leader for people. I know it. I can sense it. You become a leader, not in avoiding pain, not in teaching people to run away from it. You become a leader in showing people how to deal with that pain by doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you something, man, because I don't know if you've talked about this before, but I want to bring it up. Dude, you lost your 200,000 follower TikTok account.
Yeah.
Something that, and I told you this earlier, would absolutely devastate me if that were to happen to me. I know it's not everything, but damn, it's months and months and possibly years worth of work. Yeah. Like, what was that? For people listening, how did you pull yourself up and out of that and move forward regardless of just everything you'd worked on just going out the drain out of nowhere? Right?
20 minutes of pacing and what the fuck is going on? How is this happening? And I got to tell you this, I had never been warned. I've never had a you cross this line, warning here, warning there, 1-day ban. I had never had anything like that. So when it went from like, you're permanently banned, too bad, I went through, I didn't melt down. I had a moment of like, holy shit, what am I going to do? How am I going to feed my family? How, just kind of, because in the past year and a half, that's how I've built my business. It's how I've built everything. And so I'm very grateful for TikTok. But I caught myself going, okay, I'm giving all this power to TikTok for me being what I am or who I am.
Yeah.
And I had to stop myself and say, bullshit. I stepped out into the world and I was authentic, and I'm being me, and I'm being vulnerable about me, who I am, what I can provide, my story, being vulnerable. I built that through TikTok.
Yeah.
I can do it again.
Yeah.
So these are my guides again saying, look, this is fucking uncomfortable. Chill out, take a breath, go in the pool, do whatever you got to do. But this is for you. Not, as cliche as it is, this is for you, not against you, right? This is not happening to you. It's for you.
Yeah.
And I knew in that moment, I'm like, okay, there's something more here.
Yeah.
Whether that was old energy attached to the old account, or whatever else, there's something bigger happening here. How do I pivot? How do I adjust?
Yeah.
And I think within 24 hours, I had my new one up. I said, screw it. Let's build it. Let's bigger, better, whatever we want to do. I ain't saying I didn't have moments of panic, because I had 200,000. I had 198 or something like that. 200,000 followers. That's a lot. I mean, I've done this. I've had some big viral videos, but you get attached to it too. And that's what I did. I got attached to that. So I had to take a step back, detach, and say, no, it's my energy. It's my focus that will build it again. So yeah, man, I don't know. There's still days where I'm like,
yeah,
those bastards. But at the same time, you know what? I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I mean, that's just, I really admire that, because I'm just like, I was, at one point that was my goal to like, be the best, or to go and do that. And then I'm just like, I see, just between you and I and everyone listening, I was looking at your follow count. I'm like, I'm beating Joey.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get that.
I was using you as motivation, and I was like, in a friendly way, a loving way, right? I was like, I'm gonna just beat my brother here. Yeah. And when I heard that news, I was shocked, and I was sincerely just angry for you, like angry on behalf of you, and just like, what the fuck. And it was just this realization as well that nothing is guaranteed. Nothing.
Yeah.
And so what are what are we putting our energy into, that if we were to go away tomorrow, we would be left vulnerable or depressed or less than, because we've given a piece of ourselves to that thing. Yeah. And my practice has been actually really in that time period, because I was banned, and then from what I believe, shadow banned for the next 3 to 6 months, taking back those pieces of me, calling back those pieces of me, so that I could, and now, right. And I think you're feeling this momentum on your end too. It's like, now I think we can come back out and really be whole. But man, was it tough to lose, especially as a man, because TikTok was where I had 95% of my clients come through too. Yeah. And it's like, I just moved, and so we just had the roller coaster of our lives, and the most faith that's a whole story in itself, I could tell you the crazy story, at some point, but just trusting that the money would come and providing and all these things. But
so let's talk about that, because I find that really intriguing. I've always had this belief of, no, it always comes, it always finds a way, and it always has.
Yeah. So
it's funny how we talk about belief systems when we go from, okay, let's go from we always have enough to we always have an abundance.
Yes.
Whoa, so, wow. Right? Like, because it sounds so simple, but I look back for my whole life, I've always had enough. And I always believe, even in the hardest times, it will always come in. It'll always come in. It always has. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is literally just a belief. And every time it's like, the tank's empty, I won't pay. There it is, in abundance. Like in an amount that's like, I didn't have to worry at all.
Yeah.
So now I wonder how big that is for the people that grew up just going, oh, I've always had way more than I ever needed.
Yeah.
It's the same cycle, and it's got to be.
It's crazy because even when you said that, I was like, it's so funny you said that because again, very similar. Like I've had a lot of roller coasters with money in my life. And at the same time, it's forced me to really believe and cultivate this belief of I will always be provided for. I'll always have enough no matter what. And it always has. Even during these dark and crazy times, that I've had to trust with my girlfriend. But you just saying, because that was still my belief, but you saying, no, it's not we have enough. We have more than enough.
More than enough.
That's like, oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, all right, that's where I see I'm being limited already.
Right?
I'm like, oh, maybe it's time to change that belief and see what happens.
No. And I try to catch myself because I still catch myself saying, oh, it'll always work out. Well, working out's great, but what about more?
Yeah.
What if that's the only thing holding us back from abundance? And I'm not saying like, some people don't need more than I do and blah, 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 but it's just, I'm talking about the belief system around it. What if it's that simple? What if it's literally that simple of just going like, no, I have way more than enough, so much that I can give more.
I think you just changed my life. You just changed many people's lives who will watch this because that's huge. Yeah. And I do think, and money has been a huge test for me and my girlfriend for the last, ever since we moved into Arizona together. It's been a challenge. And just because, moving costs are a lot and we had to invest in some things. And, at one point my truck transmission went out and I couldn't even use the truck and I had to sell it for, rent money at one point. And it's just been a mess. But we've really had to just look at some of the beliefs that we've both had and carried around money and really be like, you know what? There's got to be a reason we're experiencing these challenges, this hardship. We know it's a test, but it can't just be a test just to put us through a test. There's got to be something causing it, right? And so we actually, God bless his soul, Chris, shout out if you're watching this. He's our feng shui guy. He came to us and gave us he came to our house, free feng shui, like total blessing, went to the house, told us what to do, told us what to get, totally changed everything. And from that point on, the money started coming in more than just enough in abundance. And we go, holy shit, moving some stuff around in the house and changing the way you see money actually brings money in.
Oh yeah.
What the heck?
You hear about that a lot, right? It's money is energy. It's just a give and take. And you don't have to look too far. You look at your upbringing, you look at mom and dad, you look at grandma and grandpa, whatever. I was very middle class. And then, for the most part, and then before, when I was younger, I was pretty below, like we were pretty poor. We didn't have much. And so I hear my mom talk about money and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, damn, like hold on to that. Like, right. It's just scarcity there. And I get it because she grew up even more poor. Yeah. And it's like these things are ingrained in you, whether they're real or not. They're not, they're just ingrained ideas and beliefs that you have. And even with my dad, like, it's like you get a good deal, you get a big amount of money and it's like, oh, hold. Yeah. It's scarcity. So I see that in a lot of me. So how was your upbringing? Like, what was that like with money?
Very similar. It's crazy how, so one of these days I got to do like a chart reading for you, man, because I like this dude has the same south node north situation. But we were actually pretty well off. We were like upper middle class. My dad made really good money. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And I really love that dynamic, by the way. It's a beautiful dynamic to have, a mother who is taking care of the fort and, the dad going out and making the money. This got its, they had their problems and stuff, but I love that sacred dynamic that they had. But same thing, my dad would make a whole bunch of money. And, every time like food would come up or gifts or Christmas, there would always be this like, we got to stay within a certain amount because otherwise, it's just not going to work out or it's going to be, bills are too much and all these things. And it's like, no matter how much money, God bless his soul, no matter how much money he would have made. And he was making, he wasn't making mid $200,000 a year. So he was making a lot of money. But no matter how much money he would have made, it never would have been enough you know? And I mean, my dad was an amazing worker, so focused, so dedicated, so generous with his money to the family. But I always saw that, and yeah, I took some of that in, but I also rebelled a little bit and said, you know, I'm sorry, I love you. I can't have a job for the rest of my life. I'm not going to do the whole 401k journey. And sometimes I'm going to not have enough money to know where it's coming next month, and that's okay. Yeah. And man, did that stress him out.
Oh yeah, well, exactly, right? You could probably attest to this. When I told my mom, I'm leaving my 6-figure job with a pension and benefits to go be a full-time hypnotherapist, and she's like, I'm sorry, what? But my mom was the type, and she is the type, and I love her to death. She's amazing. She has the biggest heart, but she's the woman who goes, but what if it doesn't work? What if you can't? What if? All the what ifs are one-sided. Yeah. There's no what if you absolutely kill it. What if you become way more successful than you thought possible? None of that is in her mind ever. And that's her conditioning. Her mom and dad were very terrified. Number one, no risk. I'm sure they took some risk in their life, but it was like, let's be conservative, save, be careful. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was the one who came out of that going, no, screw this. Like, I'm not working this job that's killing my soul or destroying my anything. And when I went out there, she's like, what if? And you start getting, oh my God, what if? Then you get caught up in it. But no, thank goodness I had the power to kind of go through it. And now she sees it, but even now that she sees that I'm being, successful, she's still like, It's always that.
100%. There's a lot of people, man, who I think are trying to follow in your footsteps and our footsteps, what we've created. Not having to work a job for the rest of our life, being able to branch off and do our own thing, have our own business, provide for ourselves and our families, and just not knowing if it's possible and not knowing how to do it, not knowing how to get started. And for anyone, because I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of men who are wanting to watch this show and, follow in someone else's footsteps. Yeah. What would you say to them? What would you say to that young man who is saying, I know that that's not the right path for me. I know that there's a different path, but I don't really know if I can or how to get started.
Oh, I love how you're asking some great questions tonight, dude. Thank you, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So when I was in my I don't know stage, I just knew that my job was killing me and I didn't love it at all and I needed to get out. I almost went to chiropractic school. I almost went to university to do chiropractic school. Like, one of my best friends and health gurus is a chiropractor, and he's changed so much for me and my family. I was just in awe of this man, such an awakened, aware human. And I was just like, man, this guy, maybe that's the ticket. So I was looking at that. I'm like, well, I'm not smart enough. And I started to, doubt myself in there. I'm like, well, maybe I don't have the brains to go to school for that long to do that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what else could I do? To me, it's about start looking at what fires you up. Like, for me, it was helping people. That's why chiropractic was a thing. I was like, well, I can help people being a chiropractor. Yeah. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. I've always had this huge sensitive part of me that I love helping people feel better. I don't care if they're crying after a baseball game. I'm going to be the one putting my arm around them, walking them into center field and say, look, you didn't miss that play. It happens, blah, blah, blah. And just to make them feel better. That's been my whole life. So I was like, how do I do this? Yeah. And how do I monetize it? How do I make it part of my everyday life? Yeah. I didn't know. But when I found that, so I saw a guy, a hypnotherapist, talking on a Facebook Live one time. And that's where my guys were like, whoa, slapped me in the face. And it was like right in my gut. Being a sacred authority, right? It was like boom. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know why, but I gotta look into this. So I would tell people, whatever they have, passion, whether it's helping or whatever it is, maybe it's baseball cards. I don't know. Maybe it's opening your own mechanic shop. I don't know what you love, but follow the pull of your passion. Don't get too caught up in it having to look the way it's always looked in society, and start meditating on it. Meditate on it. Ask yourself, okay, how do I go forward from there? Because we all get caught up on the how, right? You've probably been there. It's like, well, I want to do this, but how the hell am I going to go from here to there? And I always talk about Everest. You got to get to base camp before you ever go to the peak, get to the peak. You got to take the steps forward. And for me, it was meditation, quieting my mind, doing the stuff that allowed me to be in alignment and in my space and being like, okay. And what was it? Starting to develop that intuition.
Yeah.
And just taking the steps towards it. Like, but you're going to have to get brave because there's going to be things you're going to do that don't align with the old version of you. And you're going to get judged by others. You're going to get, made fun of. You're going to be laughed at. You're going to be all these things. But you have to be brave enough to kind of just start exploring what fires you up. I think that'd be the first thing.
I love everything you said. I especially love that you are advising men to meditate and follow their intuition.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one thing, that's inspiring me in this moment, as you said it, that is missing from most men's coaching, most men's guidance is, you see them already successful and they're giving some business advice, they're giving some manly advice and things like that. But no one ever says, well, how do you know what that is for you and how to take your steps? No one ever says that. It's like, well, how did you start that? How did you become a hypnotherapist? How did you become a tarot reader from a football player? And the truth is, it's going inside and asking every single time you feel stuck what the next steps are and what that thing is, and learning to quiet the resistance or the ego or the fears enough to stay in that.
Well, that's your knowing. It's the surrendering to the knowing. But if you don't know how to surrender, how the heck do you know what the knowing is? Right? Like, really, like, it's easy to go see Gary Vee and he's going garage sailing. I'm going to go garage sailing. Okay, cool. Is that really what you want to do? Is it because Gary Vee is doing it? Right? Like, well, fuck. Just because Joey's a hypnotherapist doesn't mean that's your ticket. It's probably not. That's what resonated with me. That's what allowed me to step into more of who I am. Yeah. You being with tarot and being a coach and all these things, that's not everybody's path. But we could easily make a video, make it look shiny. Right? You and I can make a video and probably sell a bunch of shit saying this is your path, but it's not. Yeah. You need to sit and you need to ask yourself, what really fires you up? Where's the passion? Where's the love for life? It's not going to be that. Don't go there. Yeah. But it's that inner guidance. We have to start getting in tune with our inner wisdom, and we all have access to it. We all have it. We all have a direct line to it. Yeah. If you don't learn how to quiet the society and all your beliefs and everything else, I don't know. I think you're already fighting a pretty tough battle.
I was going to say it's a little easier too to go that route versus trying to just do what looks cool, do what looks good, or do what you were told, and then realize 5 years down the line, fuck, like, this isn't what I want. This isn't who I am. Still unhappy over and over and over until you finally do get spurred on to go inside. And so,
here's something funny. When I first started to branch off from work going, okay, I need something else, I started meditating again. I doing my gratitude work. I bought into a MLM, a multi-level marketing business. Yeah. There you go. Well, and at first I'm like, this is cool. And it got me fired up, but it got me reading the right books. Mm-hmm. And so was I successful in it? No, but it got me reading the right books. And because of those right books, it got me to the Facebook Live that I saw this guy being a hypnotherapist. So everything played a role. Yeah. I don't regret anything. I threw, I don't know how many thousands of dollars at that, but you know what? It was the reason I got to the other part. So when those pulls happen, you gotta listen.
Yeah,
man.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. That's so crazy, man. That you've also. I just at this point, it's ridiculous. It's like what? I said, well, seriously, we did not plan this. Like we didn't say, But I was also part of MLM, and it changed my life too. I mean, I'm sure you read. We all Think and Grow Rich. Did you read that one? How to Win Friends, Influence People.
It was a free book they gave me. A free ebook was Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and it's like, whoa, yeah. But you never realize like how much those little things, that you could easily go, well, that was a scam, or that was ridiculous, or well, you could easily go that route. But that brought me to where I am, because it was a door I had to open.
No, 100%.
Yeah, that's 100%. Crazy, dude.
That's insane. I'm a little bit in shock. I'm like, I'm actually not as surprised anymore, because when you said that, I'm like, There we go. Like,
There
of course,
Yeah.
And one thing that comes up too is I'm just like, well, okay, it's so crazy too, because, I've seen you on TikTok for many months. I think you've seen me for a little while, and we never got together to have this conversation and see, but we kind of always felt, that we're aligned. And I don't know about you. I felt like, man, this guy's just, his content's awesome. He feels aligned. Like,
then there's ego. There's ego too, though. I'll admit it. I see other male, and I'm not perfect, but there's times where I'm like, fuck, this guy's good. Like, I wish, right? It's true. Like, and I talked to, who was it that I had on my show? Good Morning Assholes. You know Wayne? Good Morning Assholes. He's the Good Morning guy. Okay. So his name's Wayne. I can't remember his last name. Shoot. Anyway, he's got a 300,000-400,000 on TikTok. He's a great creator. He's hilarious. Yeah. And I told him on the show, I was like, man, I saw you climbing. And I'm just like comparing myself going, fuck, how do I get to 300? Like, I got to do more. I got to do better. I got to make better content. And you get caught up in that. Yeah. Right. And I think being guys, I don't know what it is, but there is an ego thing that you see other guys in the space going, they're doing it better, or other guys where you don't resonate. You're like, screw this guy. And I think I'm still battling that. I'm still going through all that, comparing myself to other creators, especially men.
Yeah. It's hard not to, man. It's hard not to. And I think I think it's a gift to some degree. I think it's a natural gift that we have to be able to see other like-minded men or souls going on a path and to say, not put ourselves down because they're doing better, but to inspire us as to what is possible and to say that I like that person. I resonate with him. If he can do it, I can do it too. And I think it's a gift. I think there's, and believe me, I got my competitive stuff too. I'm like, fuck, we gotta get this thing going. But I do think that's a gift. And I think that it can be used in a very positive way to light someone up on fire if they find that right person.
Oh, I think it's one of the most powerful things in the universe is to learn how to cheer louder for others. Mm-hmm. Like,
yes.
And to find it really in your soul to cheer. It's easy to say, oh yeah, I'm really proud of this guy and not be, but you kind of train yourself to go, okay, no, I want everyone to be successful. Like, and I think there's a lot of power in that, to be able to really, really want to cheer loud for others, even if you're not at that point or at that level or whatever you want to call it.
100%. And look, you're opening a portal in yourself to receive the same applause and receive the same energy and recognition back.
Yeah.
It's like you're giving to a certain degree your energy, your support, your love, but at the same time you give, you open. And when you open yourself to receive even more from the sacral. That's where it comes in, right? It's like you give, just like with money, right?
Yeah.
But the more you give, the more you open incidentally. And so people don't realize, right, that, and I didn't realize for a long time, that when I'm fuck that person, fuck that guy, I want to fucking beat him because I'm competitive. Look at my body language already, right? It goes,
yeah.
It doesn't open to receive. It closes to. But when I'm like, hey, like, go do your thing, like, you got this. Boom.
Yeah. I love that. That's cool. I never thought about the body language part, but you're right. It's like, you're clenching, you're closing up. And when you're open for that, you're like open for just hugs. You just want hugs and love. You just want, it's abundance. Bring it.
And you know this. I mean, you know this, but I'll just say for everyone watching, everything you say, everything you think, everything you wish has a physical, energetic effect on you. And people talk about karma and why that exists. Well, it exists because you literally send out a different signal in that energy, and you think it doesn't affect you, but your body changes, your physiological state changes in that act. And then whatever is sent out must and always will be reciprocated in some way.
So here's a good question for you. For someone who doesn't believe in that, the law of attraction, cause and effect, whatever you want to label it, what you put out comes back. How would you tell someone to kind of like, okay, try this? Because I always said like, and still to this day, like, I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks. That's one of the reasons her content, Esther's content, is what brought me to understand a lot. If you put 2 weeks towards gratitude and the rules or the laws of attraction and how that works, or the laws of the universe, you can't miss. Like, it's going to change the way you look at life.
Yeah.
But is there something that you would say, like, try this? Like, is there an exercise or something that you would recommend?
I would say this, and I speak from experience and from having just as skeptical of a mind of anyone else out there, and being in a place where I would never believe the whack jobs who do tarot, and now being a full-time tarot reader myself. Yeah. There's an experiment, you might have heard of it, or gosh, I forget what the experiment was, but it was looking at the state of water and the different states of water in response to the different sounds that were put, or the different words that were labeled on the cups of water. Do you know that experiment I'm talking about?
No, I've never heard that.
All right. There's a book, and we can put this in the show notes hopefully afterwards so people can access it. But there was an experiment done by a very famous scientist, Japanese scientist, and I forget his name. I wish I knew it.
Is this the one who spoke to the water? Like, was that words like the, or was that?
It was either speaking or labeling the water. Okay. There's several of them out, several iterations, but one of them is speaking. Another one's music. Another one's labeling the water. There's different iterations. But here's, for those people who are skeptical about the law of attraction, what you give, you receive, here's what I'll say. Here's proof that what you give comes back to you always. In this experiment, it was shown through repetitive practice of exposing each of the different types of waters. First of all, to set it up, there was 4 or 5 different cups of water. One of them was the control. 1 or 2 was control, where they had no words. We'll just do the word one, no word at all. Just blank water. The other ones had love, and the other ones had hate, and then the other one was some random word, something like that. And what this scientist did was he kept this label on the water over the course of a couple of weeks, and he would examine. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you. I appreciate that. Masaru Emoto. Masaru Emoto. There we go.
Yeah.
And Claudia, if I'm getting this wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, he would examine the structure. Okay, so water has a molecular structure you can see under a microscope and see. And he would look at this over the course of the next couple of weeks, and maybe even longer or shorter. But what he's found is the molecular structure of the water with hate was all kind of crazy, jumbled up, chaotic-y, spikes everywhere. Like, it just was like this weird mess of water molecules. And the water cup that had love on it was this beautiful, like, full of shapes, full of geometry, full of like the tree of life kind of looking kind of like molecules. And it was a completely different shape. He didn't do anything else besides that like putting the name of hate and love on this water. Now, here's where I'll say this is proof. Is if you have a cup of water and you're drinking this water and you are constantly in the environment associated with this water and you are spewing out hate versus love,
right?
You are literally going to be influencing, proof of this experiment, influencing your environment, influencing your coffee, influencing your pet, influencing your significant other, influencing people to be in a different chaotic energy that you are necessarily by necessitation involved in to be impacted by in a different way than if you were to imbue and spew out love. And one of the other things that I can share just from my background in health and biohacking and science and things like that is the more structured water is, meaning the more that this water has the proper oxygen and minerals and charge that it has, the more energy you're going to get back. And one of the things that this showed is that the water with love was actually more structured. It was able to hold more oxygen. It was able to hold more minerals. It was able to be a different state. And so therefore more nourishing. And so literally, for those skeptics out there, scientifically, you can prove that you can change the state of things around you, which then by necessity you're being impacted by, which will then come back to you, given the energy that you put out.
Brother, thank you for that. That was the most in-depth explanation of that I've had. No, I mean it. And that's amazing because I've seen it a few times on TikTok. I knew, speaking to your water was important, but I never really understood the kind of experiment. And with the labels too, that's wild to me.
Yeah.
Just labels.
And for those, we gotta put this, we'll put the experiment, we'll put the book and the experiment in the show notes so people can look this up. It's all real. Marjorie says, and we are made up of water, so it affects the same. Yes, we're made up, 70% water. So, think about the state that you're in. So yeah, I had to prove it to myself first before I believed it.
Of course. So do you speak to your water? Like, do you talk to your food? Do you speak to your water? Like, do you do any of that? Like, not on a regular basis, but when you're aware of it, do you try to make an effort?
I forget a lot. I don't do it. I don't do it enough. But when I can, like when I'm making my pour over sometimes, or when I'm like making an espresso, I will send love down from my soul through my arm to the water and do that. There's even been a time, so crazy. I did this. This was years back. I took this workshop where there was a real shaman. His name was Shaman Durek. I don't know if you've heard of him before, but this real life shaman. And he was teaching us how to put different emotions into the water. And what he would do is he gave us all a cup of water and he said, I want you to put laughter. I want you to put laughter in your water. And this was a group of people that was just kind of randomly made up. And whether it was placebo or not, at that time I thought it was placebo because I was like very, very skeptical.
Sure.
But man, that whole group of like 20, 30 people, after drinking their water, after programming it with the emotion of laughter, was laughing their asses off. They could not stop laughing. They were in this state of like, I'm just like, and I was like, I probably blocked it because I was just like, this is crazy. But I just remember like, geez Louise, this is some crazy stuff.
But it's just placebo or not. Your belief is everything.
Exactly.
So choose what you want, right? Let's just choose what you want. It really, it's not always that simple, but I think it is. Like we have an ability to choose every single moment of every single day on how we want to react, how we want to look at things, how we want to be, how we want to evolve. Man,
100%. It's fun. It's funny you say this, man. I just had a moment too, because it goes back to what you said about the money, right? And simply that belief of having, rather than the standard quo of we'll always have enough, I will always have more than enough.
Yeah.
And just having it be so simple, but having it change so much. It's almost like, how could we, and we're at 111, by the way. We're at the 111 in the live stream, by the way. I just saw that.
Oh, yes, right? We are.
And this is about money for anyone wanting to change the base of money, right? So this is live.
May 11th, just so you know.
It's May 11th. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, Let's go. But I want to share. So I had this moment where, have you heard of Aaron Abke?
No, I don't think I have.
Aaron Abke. Okay. He's a pretty well-known spiritual influencer. He's got a YouTube channel. And I remember seeing...
Aaron, is he a blonde guy?
No. He's short hair. Yeah. He's pretty cool guy. A lot of good teachings on the Law of One. But I had this moment where I remember I was watching like a very similar podcast to what you and I are doing now.
Yep.
With someone, and I just remember there was a whole bunch of viewers and everyone was really resonating and they were just loving it, and I'm just like, this was probably a few months ago, and I remember, you know what, someday I want to do that. I want to just be able to talk and have a conversation and change people's lives with another aligned human being, right? But really I was looking for, an aligned soul brother to really talk about this stuff, and I just realized I'm doing it right now. I just realized that that's exactly what this was, and I just want to thank you for that, because it's. I just saw it. My guide apparently showed me when I saw that, and I was like, man, I want to do that, and here we are,
brother. I'm truly honored and blessed to have you on. It was kind of a long time coming, but all divinely timed. I can't believe it's been an hour and 13 minutes already. Absolute blast. You're a wealth of knowledge, and let's do this again. Let's be honest. We should probably make this a regular thing. But I have two final questions that I ask my guests.
Cool.
The first one is, because this show is all about being open, raw, and vulnerable, is there anything from your life, from your experience, where you're at in your journey, something vulnerable, maybe you haven't shared too much of or never shared, that you could give people watching today that some value? Anything from your life that you maybe not, maybe haven't touched on too much? I'm asking you to dig deep. I know it's not an easy one.
No, I love it. I love it. I want to make sure it's a very real answer for you. I would say, here's the truth that many people don't know. and many people will not know, is that I'm very scared. I'm very scared. I'm scared to be here live. I'm scared to be talking with you. I'm scared that I'm going to have a massive anxiety attack and freak out and trip out and everything's going to go wrong. And I get terrified and nervous, and my heart beats 1,000,000 miles a minute every time I go live to this day. And even though it seems like, I have confidence and knowledge and happiness and all those things are true, I just want everyone to know that the truth really inside is that I am just as scared and just as nervous as anyone else who would be watching this and doing the same thing and thinking, how are these guys doing it? And they look so I am just as damn scared on these platforms, even after all these followers and success and things like that, as anyone else, possibly more.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever shared that openly. And I just think it was the time the world knew.
Dude, I appreciate that so much because I resonate with it so much. It's I think we have an ability to just look, confident and natural. And some days are easier than others.
Yeah.
There's days I go live on a Sunday going, how am I going to lead this meditation? How am I going to give them enough? How am I going to be able to give them a space where, and I'm not feeling my best or I'm not feeling confident whatsoever.
Yeah.
And there's times where my legs are just nonstop. Go. So is there something about that? Like how do you do that? Like, how do you push forward in something like that? Is it a pushing? Is it just screw it, I gotta go? Or is there how do you approach that?
That's a great question, man. For me, what I'm learning is that the more I can stay present in my body, because what happens is when, thank you, Tricia, for sharing that. What happens is sometimes in those moments, I leave. My awareness, my presence leaves, and I go into panic mode or fear mode or imagination mode or whatever it is, and I lose track of the moment and my body, and staying rooted in this is why you're here. You're here to just be. You are here to just be and let it arise. Because I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say next. I'm not planning out what I'm going to do. It just arises spontaneously the more I be. And if it's anything I can tell anyone, it's the more you can learn to just be and trust that what will need to be arisen will arise spontaneously in the moment, the more successful you will be and the more happy and the easier it will be. It's still not easy, but it's been learning to trust in that beingness that has really allowed me to even go live in the ways that I have so far.
I resonate so deeply with all of it, everything. And what did I read the other day? You are a human being, not a human doing. You're a human being, not a human doing. And I think that can be, interpreted in so many different ways for so many different people. But thank you for that, because, man, it's easy to watch you and go, this guy's done this a million times. Like, it's just easy, and I think I get the same thing. And I think it's beautiful that you were able, thank you for that. This is why these final two questions are so magic. I love that. And thank you for being open. My last one is, because it's called Alive with Joy, what does it mean for you? What does it feel like what does it mean to be alive to you? Like moving, in your journey, being alive.
I just had, man, I don't know. I can't. I was going to go somewhere I shouldn't go, but I'll say it like this. To be able to have the energy and the awareness and the time to be able to make love to your person, to be able to love and to make love, to be able to see, to be able to do, and to be able to breathe, and to be able to kiss the earth if you want it, and to be in this moment, just having this experience that you can never, ever have again.
Yeah.
And allowing those experiences to come through and to be enjoyed as much as possible. That is what I feel being alive is. And it's really, I know that those are just words and just things, but it's really truly embracing that if you don't have that already, it's finding someone and finding something that you can literally make love to every single day. And I don't just mean your partner, right? Although that's awesome, but I mean making love to your work, making love to your passion, making love to your day every single day, and just embracing it and loving it. And that to me is what it means to be alive. And there will never be any other way to live but that. And if it's not, then it's not worth it.
If I had a microphone, I'd throw it so hard. That's beautiful, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing, what you're bringing, your authenticity, your ability to continue honoring like who you are and who you are becoming. I think that's another thing too, is we're always evolving and always, I guess, changing. But man, I think I could speak. Everybody's stoked. Like, I don't know. Can you see all the comments on the screen?
Yeah. I could see the ones that pop up. Yeah.
Those ones. Oh, so if you because you might not see them all, but everyone's fired up because I see them all, and then the ones that are popping up are only the ones I've been selecting.
Oh, there's more comments besides that. Oh, that's crazy.
On the left side.
Oh, in the comment section. The comment section.
You'll see.
Oh, wow. Hi, everyone. Let's go.
So you're only seeing the ones that popped up. Damn. Everybody's so stoked. And I think a few people have chimed in saying this is the best Alive with Joey yet. So
wow.
I think that says a lot with about who you are, your character, where you're going, what you're doing. So thanks again. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This will be on my YouTube channel ASAP, like right away as we kind of finish the broadcast. But we're definitely doing this again, dude.
Would love to. And dude, is there any way I could put this on my YouTube channel and give you all the credit and link to you and kind of promote? Okay, cool. So
do all the things, man. Get it out to as many people as we can. And yeah.
Cool, man. I know a lot of viewers would like to see this show and you and all that stuff. So thank you so much. This was awesome. I freaking enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I cannot say that about every. I enjoyed it to a T, and thank you for holding the space and allowing me to share all these things with the world.
Don't go yet, but we gotta go. We gotta leave some of the magic for next time. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So hang out for a sec, Brandon. I'm just gonna end this. Say goodbye to everybody else. Thank you for joining us again, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers, guys.